We're talking all of the crazy things that happen in real estate.
What happened?
I've seen it all. Guys, this is what I'm working with right now, okay?
This was my very first transaction. She's like, holy shit, this is normal.
People think, oh, where does that your cash and checks, girl? You're a full-time marriage counselor and an attorney.
The guy's a scammer. Found out the next morning after I wrote 3 offers and sold the place. And don't attack my integrity. So I was ready to buy.
What's the one thing you feel like you want to change in your business for next year to set you up for success?
Require a photo ID. Even though it's been a little bit of a show and there's been things happen, I don't feel like it's unbearable. She brings some moral support for me. And then I feel like I can give the hard truth and love. You know what your tagline should be? You don't screw people over.
So imagine if you did it seductively. I don't screw people over.
Welcome to the Moxie and Jana show.
I mean, we are spilling some real tea up in her, okay?
So we have aptly named our little show, Spilling Real Tea with Jana and Moxie.
Get it? Tune in and listen to us share all our crazy, wildly unbelievable crap that we see, do, and navigate in the insane world of real estate.
And we're talking everything.
Oh, the stories we will share.
Literally everything. Down to the fails only us real estate agents could make.
We got it all, y'all.
Straight out of KC, and we spilling it.
Hello, guys.
Hello. Thanks for having us today.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. So Jana and Moxie with the Spillin' Real Tea with Jana and Moxie every week, our lovely little podcast we do here. We're talking all of the crazy things that happen in real estate, and we're doing fun interviews like this one where we get to talk to really great agents that are interesting, doing fun stuff, making waves and doing cool things in the industry. So we're really happy to welcome the Trusted Home team, which is Laura Good and Laura Ebert. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
Glad to be here today.
We're stoked to have you guys.
As are we. Spill the tea.
This is awesome. This is awesome.
Look, Anna, they brought their tea, and I brought mine too.
Chai tea latte is my absolute favorite, but the only kind that I seem to be able to drink is from Starbucks. We're a little goofy, guys, so you're just going to have to roll with it, and it'll be super fun, I promise. But we do start off being a little goofy. So, all right, ladies, why don't you guys tell us a little bit about yourselves? So I'm going to turn the floor over to you for intros.
I'm Laura Ebert, and I have been in the area for 27 years.
What area are you in?
Manhattan, Wamego, Northeast Kansas.
All right.
I got married in Abilene, and then I moved to Manhattan, and we've lived within a mile of ourselves for 25 years. And my husband has lived within a mile of himself for 45 years, so we're never moving. He built our home. He's a home builder. He needs lumber as a contractor salesman. Then he quit his job and started doing remodels and basements. And then we've done 2 subdivisions. And then we bought a trailer park. Before I bought the trailer park, I became a property manager, and then I became a realtor. So I've been doing real estate for 10 years. I've had my broker's license since 2017.
Wow.
So, and then in all that, I had 4 kids in 5 years, and now 3 are in college, and 1's a senior in school.
Damn, girl.
I'm Laura Good, and my story is a little different. I grew up here in Kansas, in Northeast Kansas, on a farm just north of Manhattan, where I live now. After college, I studied Spanish and went and lived in Mexico. Thought I wanted to just have some fun in my early 20s, taught English, and then moved back to Kansas. Then still had the international itch and got a Fulbright grant after my master's degree at KU. Got a Fulbright to go to Spain, where I met my husband. I got placed teaching English to 2nd graders in Madrid. After meeting my husband, wanted to stay, got lucky and got a job doing international college admissions. And then after that, was there for 5 years, got married, and moved to Abu Dhabi in the Middle East. We wanted an adventure, a challenge. Didn't have any kids. And so I actually took a job there for the government of the Emirates of Abu Dhabi. There are 7 Emirates in the United Arab Emirates. Abu Dhabi and Dubai are not countries. They're cities and states. So they're about an hour apart. Everybody asks me, oh, Dubai. I'm like, no, Abu Dhabi.
Like, it's different. It's different, but cool.
So we ended up going there thinking we'd stay 2 years, which is what my contract was. I was doing educational advising with the government of the United Arab Emirates. And we ended up staying 7 years and had all of our kids there. So I have identical twin girls who are 8, and I have a 10-year-old. As they got close to school age, my husband and I looked at each other and said, we are just too far from all our family. Mm-hmm. And it was either Spain or Kansas.
And you chose Kansas.
Obvi clicked my heels, wow. And we ended up back here in Manhattan to be close to my parents who live here.
Oh.
But that's when I got lucky to meet my work life.
They call me the country Laura, for the city Laura.
I was like, where are we going with that? The what, Laura?
Sometimes she's the international Laura, and I'm the domestic Laura.
Yeah, I was going to say international for sure.
Yeah. That's awesome. So how did you guys meet and decide to partner up? Yeah, no, you got to give it to us straight. And don't give us the bullshit story. You got to give us like the real deal.
This is a good one.
So I had been telling who I'd been with for 9 years. I've only been in one other place. I told him I wanted to start a team because I needed to be home with my kids and my daughters because I had 3 daughters in high school during COVID.
What grades?
Senior, sophomore, to freshman.
Blow my brains out. That sounds awesome.
She was coming on to this company and they said, you should work with Laura. She's interested in building a team. And so we met at a coffee shop and I was smitten. So
me too.
I love how you guys are like,
but you know when you know.
I was getting out of, since moving back to the U.S., I was just bored. I took an office job and I was bored. And I wanted to do something.
Laura, hang on. We have to talk about this.
What happened?
I think you should leave that. Yeah, it was super good.
Guys, this is what I'm working with right now, okay? Look at this shit. This is what I'm dealing with right now, okay? Look. It's not working. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Too much. I like how Laura's like, I'm just going to keep talking. I don't care that there's a disaster.
We have children. It's fine.
Yeah.
Just keep going.
We're going to keep going.
International Laura to the rescue.
I know. International Laura, keep this shit going.
Would you like me to shift to
Oh, she can do it all in Spanish.
It's guys, I am so sorry. That is hilarious.
That was awesome.
Our family is good.
I teach her dirty things.
Yeah, she does. And I can't remember.
Like what?
I can't tell you. Well, it was so good. I mean, you could tell them, but
only upon request.
You should tell me. You should tell us.
It's about taking my husband down in the bedroom, and so she said it in Spanish.
Like taking him down, or like taking him down? Taking him down.
Let's go back to topic. Okay, yes. Where were we?
Remember. I don't have a clue.
We were talking about how you guys met.
Oh, how we met. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
And we meandered around it, but that's what we were discussing.
We meandered. I was very bored in an office job. I'd always loved real estate, but been pretty scared to go into business on my own. I had actually started another company, and so that gave me a little bit of the, what should I say?
Entrepreneurial flavor.
To be more entrepreneurial. I was interviewing brokerages around town. I had gotten my license, and when I walked into brokerage, which is probably the largest one in town and definitely number one in terms of sales
at that time
at least, wandered in, liked my meeting with the broker, and she said, "Hey, you would get along great with Laura Ebert. She's wanting to start a team. You should talk to her." And at the time, my kids were little. I was worried about time. A team sounded great to me, especially as a new agent coming in. When I met her, I said, "Hey, I'm coming over with you guys." And then
I couldn't get my shit together with company. I looked at my numbers and I thought I need to make more so I can be home more. I looked at 8 different companies, and Real was the one that they were the only ones that told me, you got to do what's right for you, Laura. We're not going to make that decision for you. We'll welcome you on anytime. Everybody else wanted my book of business. Mm-hmm. Nobody cared about me as a human, and Real did. And when I had to tell Laura that I was moving companies. It was horrible. My husband said, are you going to make this choice whether anybody comes with you or not? I said, absolutely. It's the right choice for me. So I told her to talk to our broker and you tell me what you're going to do, because I'm not going to ask you to come, because this is a huge step and I would never ask you to do that. And then I get this phone call. I thought it was a Dear John phone call. Like you were going to say, yeah, I'm not coming with you, because you sounded so sad and forlorn. And you're like, I'm taking Laura all the way. And I'm like, oh God, yes. And then it got really rough because my daughter had a lot of mental health issues and went to the hospital 4 days after we started. Well, thank God for everybody in Real, though, because they were so kind. And they told me, and Laura told me, you go be with your family. And it was more about core values. I actually took off most of the month of December, January, and February. And I hit my cap in April.
Damn, girl.
I was able to come back and I knew my kids were going to be okay. And she was very helpful. And you kind of started, I don't know, January or?
I started really in January. Yeah. So when she told me she was leaving, and I had literally just walked in the door at the largest brokerage in town and been introduced at a meeting as a Rhodes Scholar. Like it's for the whole room. A Rhodes Scholar is like Oxford. They pick like,
you're like, whoa.
And so the whole room is looking at me like, who's this new girl? And then when I looked at Real as well and saw the splits were so much better, there was so much more flexibility for us to do what we wanted to do and adapt and grow as a team, as a partnership. It was just the best place.
And you guys you're in Wamego, Kansas, but you service Manhattan, Wamego, and the surrounding area.
He's in Manhattan.
Okay.
I'm in Wamego, and we service about 9 counties. I've sold in about 9 counties around Northeast Kansas. So like Clay, Dickinson, Wabunsee, Riley, Pottawatomie, Shawnee.
Holy cow.
Geary.
You're all over. I mean, that's a very large.
An hour and a half to 2 hours north, south, east, and west. It's all over the map.
Wow.
I like to be able to help my clients. A lot of my calls now are pushing referrals of somebody. Hey, I met you. You actually showed my house with another agent, but I like the way you treated me way better than they did. So I ended up selling and buying with them.
Nice.
So a lot of it's word of mouth, and it's a very smaller community. We do a lot more hands-on stuff. Most of the people I sold for were football games, my church. Pretty much they would see me in a football game and they'd be like, hey, can you sell my house?
And you're like, here, let's slide the paperwork underneath.
They're like, we trust you. And then one of my good friends who bought and sold through me, she was like, you know what your tagline should be? You don't screw people over. I'm like, I don't think that's a very good tagline, but cool.
I mean,
she just thought you're honest and you're just helpful. And I'm like, okay, that's probably better.
Mm-hmm. Could you imagine if you had I don't screw people over on any of your advertisement? And you're beautiful too. So imagine if you did it seductively. I don't screw people over. Like, I'm not very seductive and fluent. But imagine if you did.
And then Laura Good has to turn that red and look at her in that way, just like she is right now. Right? You're so funny. Oh my gosh. So tell us a little bit about what your client experience looks like today. What is it? And where do you want it to go? And kind of some special things you guys do.
So one of the things I kind of gleaned from the last partner I had when I was only in the business about 5 years was getting more systems set up. We have Google Forms that if someone wants to write an offer and I'm driving, I'll send a Google form even from our text, and then she gets the Google form and can start writing the offer. They can be signed before I get home. So we have it kind of it's very good. So I can have a life and go be home with my daughter and my husband for supper, or I can actually do dishes. I don't take myself up dishes like I have the last 10 years.
So you're texting your client, and when they say, hey, we want to make an offer, you're like, fantastic. If I'm busy, here's a Google form, fill it out, and then we'll get that offer written for you and submitted.
Yep.
That's
and any
awesome.
questions you have, you can text both of us. She starts a text thread with both of us so that we are in communication with every person that needs to have a say, which is mostly everybody in the transaction. And what I do is I pin them to the top of my messages so that way I can kind of look through that list every day and be like, do I need to touch base with them? Do I need to touch base with them?
That's smart.
Hey, this one needs title work. And so she can see all that stuff. So we're not overlapping.
The Google form was, initially we had a lot of where you're working together and you're just figuring out what works and what doesn't. So from a client experience, Laura would have talked through everything with them, but realistically, if she's out driving or doing a million things and I'm sitting at home and I'm able to do it, I need all the information. And so it's easier for them to just, rather than her piecemealing the information, piecemealing it to me. Then we have it in writing directly from the client. Exactly what they want on that contract.
That's smart. Working in a small to medium-sized town is a lot different than working in a metro, like a large metro area. So what things do you do in your area to kind of like build trust, gain a good reputation, and maintain that reputation? Like, what's that like? Just kind of what you guys are doing right now.
Well, I was going to start with some things that we do not do.
Let's do that. I'm all about it.
See, Laura and I have this dynamic. So she has lots of ideas, and she's been a member of a lot of different elite coaching programs and things. And so she comes in excited, like, there's this new idea, and here, Laura's 50 pages of ideas. And I look it over, I take a deep breath, and I'm like, no. Nope. We don't live in LA. So things that we don't do. Things that we don't do in a small town. We don't hire a VA in the Philippines. No. For example, that when our clients call and expect to get a Laura, they get somebody else, and that doesn't fly as well in a small community where they expect that individual touch. Right. So we do a lot of things ourselves that I would say you wouldn't do as much in a larger market. Also, as a smaller market, another big thing is agents that we work with, we'll probably work with them again. Absolutely. So the agent relationships are more important. Yes. Being nice to each other, and then you kind of learn who you prefer to work with, and you want to be those people.
And then one of the things I would say in a smaller community that I have done that helped is I do try to do a monthly giveaway, and that's usually how I get repeat business. And in Manhattan, the sales time is 3 years. Where nationally it's like 7. So we turn over very fast because it's a very transient community. Now in Polk County where I live, it's now 10 years. So
wow. Over there. So you kind of got the best of both worlds. You've got that like long-term, short-term rental market for it's great for investors and kids buying or parents buying for kids and that kind of stuff. Absolutely. And then you've got your tried and true typical timeline.
No, and they're only about 15 miles apart. So it's great. I come into town almost every day. My daughter goes to K-State here. You know, it's nice to be in a community with the college. So we have the college. We have National Bioag Facility. It moved from New York. It'll be fully functional in 2024 with all the diseases. But it's been going on for like 6 years. So
wait, what?
Where all of the crazy bioag war germs. Yeah, they're coming here.
Are you joking?
In Boston.
It's National Bioag. It's right across from K-State. And then we have a big veterinary school. So K-State.
And the Army base.
Mox, do you have a question?
Yeah, actually I do, because I am currently getting over a sickness. So I apologize to everyone if I'm not like as normal, because I'm fully aware that that's normally how I act. So this is perfectly aligned with this question. How do you keep motivated and engaged specifically in real estate? So not family, not in the community, but how do you stay motivated and engaged specifically when it comes to real estate and your clients?
Laura keeps me engaged. I'm a first-year agent. So for me, it's my first cycle through. I did not have big expectations. I knew it was going to be a rough transition. I didn't know where my business was going to come from. And I'm on Laura's team, and I was able to hit my cap. By when? By June. I think in June I hit my cap.
Nice.
I thought the sales part was going to be really icky. And that's what I was most worried about. That's why I partnered with her. Yeah. I was like,
like, I gotta get with this girl because she can do all the selling.
We've been so busy. So my motivation is seeing when we close out one thing, thinking about what's next business-wise, or thinking about what we could do different or what we could do better. I'm a systematic person, so I take a more systematic approach. So I step back and when I have free time and I look at, okay, well, we have this CRM, but are we really using it right? And we have these different databases, and how are we using them? And are they organized? No. So I like to take a look at systems, and that keeps me motivated too, to see things improving.
And me, so throughout different years, because of my 10th year in real estate, I just wanted to learn enough and glean as much as I could. Part of it is a money thing for me. I never got in it to like dress nice or do anything. Most of the time my hair's up, no makeup, I'm working really hard. Nobody cares what I look like, really. I sell houses just the same if I'm just going after it. To me, it's about the people, because I never want to disappoint them. I've been a chronic people pleaser for most of my life. I'm learning to overcome that, but I also I always think it's the right thing to do the right thing. Mm-hmm. And I always want to give my best level of service. And so I think our motto here, work hard, be kind, is exactly what I want to embody all the time. And that's what I have embodied before I was there. So some people have said since I left the other company that I was the culture, because I always thought a rising tide raises all ships. Mm-hmm. There's plenty of business for all of us. It's an abundance mindset. It's doing the right things every day and going, how can I further along? My husband said, the first 2 years you get in this business, you're not going to make anything. I think I cried my first 5 transactions. I made $500 die. And I thought, I'm never doing this shit. And my husband,
so true, though.
He says, they don't fall open with their legs in the air. You got to take them to dinner first. And he's not wrong. It's never about getting to it. It's always, every transaction, there's always a hard part. There's always something. And lately, a lot more something than not.
A lot of something.
For real. Like, holy shit, normal? And I'm like, I don't think so, because I've never had that before.
Yeah. A transaction comes up.
And it's like 4 things that I've never done. And I'm like, well, that's a new one.
Scale of 10. This was my very first transaction. I'm like, scale of 10. How hard is this one? But now through it, I'm like, that was a 5.
Girl, love you for sticking through it.
Well,
I mean,
telling you that at the beginning because I didn't want to scare her off.
Yeah, that's so true.
It's funny that you mentioned that, though, because I have a team and I started my team back in like 2017, I think. And I had a couple people that were on my team. And one of them was a brand new agent, came onto the team, had a first lead. So first transaction, brand new person. And we get to the end of it. And she's like, yeah, I think I'm over it. I don't think this is good for me. And I was like, really? Here's the funny part about all of that. It was a fully underwritten VA buyer who already knew the house they wanted to buy. They knew the sellers. It was a 3-week transaction.
What?
And I was like, you're bailing on this?
Nope.
Are you joking?
No, honey. Where can I send your license today? This is over.
I was like, I hate to say it. If this is hard, we're going to have different problems.
I want to write a book. It's called So You Want to Be an Agent? And just talk about all the real things that happen and be like, do you think you're tough enough? Because I don't think.
I've actually had 2 agents. I've had a team, I don't know, 3 years, 2 years, 5 years. I don't really know. I started a team like 5 years ago. That was a joke. Started one 3 years ago. Girl, it's just been one thing after another. But I started a team and I had like 8, 10 agents altogether. I had 2 agents that their first 2 transactions, one didn't end up going through, and one was my 3 top hardest that I've personally ever done. Both of those agents quit after that. And then guess whose fault it was? Mine. It was my fault because I was, supportive and there for you. And honestly, I got crap on Facebook from it because it's like, it's not my fault you couldn't survive. This is hard. People think, oh, we're just out here cashing checks, girl. I heard you earlier, you said that you're a full-time marriage counselor and an attorney. Girl, we are adult babysitters. Like, that is what I truly feel like in this. And it's okay because, as you said, at the end of the day, it's fantastic. Clients invite us over to have dinner. Clients, see me at a football game and hug on me. Like, there is amazing parts of this job, but when the agent can't survive the first deal, because usually the first deal is like almost the hardest, what are you going to do? Just where can I send your license? I don't know what else to say.
Well, and I think that's an interesting point to make is that there are a lot of agents that came into the business in the last couple of years and they've seen, over list price, under contract in 2 hours, right? So we had a ton of people coming into the industry. And then, we're in the market we're in now, which is a little bit different. It's not honestly that different if you are doing what you're supposed to do, right? I mean, it's really not. It's not. But it's harder for those people who just got in the last 3 years and are like, oh my God, I pick up the phone and now I can't close tomorrow. Like, what happened?
Yeah.
So
it's totally different. And something that I was talking to the lender, I said, I have had 3 people yesterday tell me I want to wait until the spring market to either buy or sell. And to me, it immediately was like, well, that's a really wonderful, education part for your client. right now is a great time to sell because there is no inventory. Right now is a great time to purchase because there is hardly any competition. So to me, that's like, we have the option to educate people right now, which is fantastic. But these agents that don't know how to have those conversations, those are the ones that I think are going to end up, I guess we'll see January 15th, how many people actually renew their licenses? Because it's due just so everybody knows, it's due December 15th, but I heard they give you a 30-day grace. So everybody apparently does it in January. So I'm interested. Girl, I'm renewing my license right here. Renewal. Let's go. So, or you know what I mean, the MLSC, whatever it's called.
So when you have those super difficult transactions, when you're in a small to midtown, like how do you build that bridge again?
And I think just being present is a huge thing. Like I'm singing at a funeral tomorrow because I was asked to. So, just in my church and my community, I sing. So I'm just myself and I'm approachable.
So you're singing for someone you know at a funeral, or you're singing for the church at or something? Do you know these people?
You kind of know the person. You kind of know everybody.
True.
It doesn't matter. But they ask, there's only about 3 or 4 of us singers that will sing at a funeral because they can't handle it. And so I've sang at a lot of funerals. My daughter sings at weddings and I'm singing at funerals that shows you my age.
Aww.
I haven't even been asked to sing at a wedding in a while.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway, so I think just being present is kind of more our stuff, because you're going to see people in Wamiga. Like if I go into a place, you always want to be who you are and be sincere. And so that's what I think the most is. I'm genuine and I am who I am right in front of you. And I am who I am when I go get coffee, when I'm going to fix my flip house, when I go to the bank, when I go to the hairstylist. I am who I am. And my word is good. I have to keep my name good. And then when somebody's tried to smear it last week, I almost quit a whole big deal, one of my biggest sales we've ever had, because I just said, that is not who I am and don't attack my integrity. I did not write that. I let it simmer. I thought it and talked about it. I had some face therapy. Okay. You just settled me down because I was ready to fight. It's just one of those things, like, I don't like my integrity called into question.
It's like you're my spirit animal right now, because that was a video that I put out yesterday. So that's kind of interesting. I don't often put out videos like that, but, sometimes you just got to be like, hi, could you stop being a jerk? And that's basically what the video said in the most polite way possible.
And my husband says, I think he's one of my biggest motivators besides Laura, and they're a lot the same. They're good people. But my husband's always like, don't judge them on their worst day. And Laura, you might have saw them on their worst day.
Well, one of my last questions here is, what's the craziest thing that's ever happened to you in your real estate career?
The one I have right now is I had a guy call me from Florida.
Yeah.
And so I didn't know. He gave me his name. He called me a couple times. His wife's name, and got all this information, said he wanted to sell a lot. No big deal, because I just sold a lot in St. Mary's. Thought, this is super great. My name is getting out there. The guy's a scammer. Found out the next morning after I wrote 3 offers and sold the place that the other guy actually knew this guy and said, I don't think it's for sale. I'm like, I'm sorry he didn't let you have first rights of refusal. I'm sorry the guy lied to you. And he goes, no, I just talked to him this morning. He has no idea why there's a sign in his yard. I almost sold a lot that was not for sale. So the fake guy does not know yet, because we haven't closed. It was a 2-week closing. So I got a couple of days for the title company to get his information, because it's going to the FBI. So I have been in communication. So I was like, how can I learn from this? And so what I was learning from this that day, when I had to call everybody and say, I'm sorry you won the contract. I didn't actually win. It's not for sale.
Hang on. I need to recap. You were representing the seller. You had a buyer from an offer that had an agent. The buyer had an agent, correct?
No, the one who won was me, unrepresented. 3 unrepresented offers.
That's great. That's not awkward. So you have a seller. You now have an unrepresented buyer, and the seller isn't real?
Nope. So I talked to the real guy. They gave me his number and said, it's such a small community. Everybody's like, but I know him and I know he's going to build. And I'm like, oh God, what if I sold it and they start throwing it at the house? And then he's like, what the hell? Like, that's my property. But what I learned is I need to get a driver's license. If somebody says they are and you're never going to meet with them, get their driver's license, because that was the only way that he won't have that information. He pulled everything else, everything checked out. She even looked up his house. He lives in a $1.1 million home in Florida. Doesn't matter. That's where the other guy lived. He just pulled the real guy. The other guy's probably on the other side of the pond.
Yeah. So he pulled the information of the real owner and pretended to be the real owner. And so the name checked out for taxes, everything checked out as far as that was concerned.
I mean, and their phone numbers were even in the same area code as where this guy lived.
At the end of the day, his goal was to close this, have the money transferred, wired to him as the seller, but he would have had to have shown his license at that point because he's in front of a notary.
I said, I have a notary, an online notary now, and they can close from anywhere. And he goes, no, I won't be on screen. He goes, I'm going to do it old fashioned way where you just sign a notary.
So he had a notary in his back pocket that was what?
He's still in the middle of an FBI sting. That's the most interesting thing that's happened to me last week.
My gosh. What?
The funny thing is I feel like I'm having that exact same conversation with a prospective client right now.
Like, you better get their driver's license number because I don't trust anybody anymore. I'm like, you're not who you say you are. Give me a driver's license.
Yep. That's about where we are.
Wow.
And you know how the guy figured it out? He said, did you talk to his wife? And I said, no, I've never talked to the wife in person, but I have her phone number and email address. He goes, well, she's the one who makes all the business decisions, so I think it's a scam because he knew them.
So then at that point, Laura, you talked to the real wife and they were like, no, we're not selling our property.
Yeah, I pulled my sign, but I made it pending first and then I withdrew it a day later. And I was trying to leave it long enough so he doesn't know so that we could try to get, but since no money changed hands, it was supposed to be $11,000 or $15,000 down. And I told him, please don't run that to the title company. I'm so sorry. No money could change. Well, I didn't want any money to change hands, but the FBI doesn't normally take it unless money changes hands, unless they have a real name or a real account number. If they can get a real account number, and I'm still working on that, then they can go after him. But
well, you could say that the buyer just decided that he wanted to make this deposit non-refundable, and so we are actually, instead of giving it to title, the $13,000 or whatever, instead of giving it to title, the buyer is pretty serious about buying this. He wants to make it non-refundable. He wants to just send it to you. Could you go ahead and send your wiring information? Then you have it, and then he's happy because he just got $12,000 to $13,000.
Perfect. See what he says. Yeah. I'll text him today. I'll be like, hey, it's close to closing and we just wanted to get this. And I don't know, title's saying they don't need, since it's a cash closing, we don't need all maybe the notary stuff, but he won't know. He's a scammer anyway.
Yeah. Since it's under $20,000, they don't really want to take the expense to open an escrow account. So we'll just have you wire the funds directly because
it's just, there you go.
Oof.
Yeah, I would do. Man, that's insane. Oof. I've had a house get stolen before from a seller, but I've never had someone try to sell a house that, like, that's insane. That's absolutely insane.
Yeah, for sale. Still not for sale. I'm like, and then the real guy goes, well, call the police and get our sign out of the yard. I'm like, oh dear Lord, like,
oh my God. Oh my God.
Oh my. When I talked to him, he was super cool, and they were all so nice. Like, everybody was like, how are you doing? Are you okay? I'm like,
yeah.
Well, I feel
like, I'm
like, yeah.
In the meantime, Laura, I'm on vacation.
Yeah. He's doing just a lot.
And I called her to check in. I'm like, oh, how's everything going? Because I'd seen some interesting text messages.
So she's like, can I book your flight home now?
Yeah, right?
So all this stuff, this has all happened in my first year. So I feel like I've seen a lot.
And I'm like, this isn't normal.
I mean, the scammers have been like,
oh my God, nonstop.
In my short time, like
crypto guys.
So the crypto guys that want to go on WhatsApp. So I decided to play with this crypto scammer guy a little bit, and he was on WhatsApp, and he told me what his position was, like head of Marriott Hotels Hospitality or something, and sent me all these pictures, and he had like a really good backstory for why he was moving here. He was like, my daughter's husband is a professor at Kansas State University, and I am the grandfather retiring, and I'm buying a home there, $2.1 million home.
That there's not even wanting.
There's your first clue. Nothing's $2.1 million here.
With a 2 bedroom, 2 bathroom,
and I'm gonna need it to be closer to my granddaughter. And so as we're talking a little bit, and I'm telling Laura about it, she goes, "Wait, I got the same message." I go, "Oh, let's have fun with it." So then they go back and forth. I'm like, "Oh, you've been in touch with my partner. She's Laura too." And he texts me back, "Why do you have the same name?"
He texted me the same thing. And I was like, I don't know.
And our parents decided to name us the same thing. Are you like twin sisters? Destiny sisters? You must be Destiny sisters. I said, no, we're actually not sisters. And he goes,
why would you name your daughters the same?
He's like, Destiny sisters. So our children that were Destiny sisters.
Oh my God.
Guess we've had enough of that scammer.
But yeah, but there's plenty of those that called for a while. And I was like, don't do crypto. Nope.
I tried to tell my husband's newly licensed in December too. And I'm like, get ready for it. We are the most advertised and attempted to be scammed people other than the elderly, I feel like in a lot of cases, but we're like the top of the list because we're motivated. We're going to answer the phone. We're going to respond. We're going to dig in and ask questions. We want to take care of people. We want to do the right thing, blah, 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 all these things, right? Don't want to let people fall through the cracks.
They're using it against us.
And they're totally using it. So like, stop it. So here's a fun one for you because I love playing these games with these scammers, but I'm just not going to sit there and like go back and forth, right? So on my iPhone, I have text replacement set up. So it's like scam 1, scam 2, scam 3, and it's a series of responses because they all go the same way. They literally all say the same damn thing. I'm like, that sounds great. I'd really love to chat with you. When's a good time to discuss, or whatever. When would be a good time to meet?
Do you have WhatsApp?
Yeah, right.
I only meet in person.
Love crypto.
Your color.
Can I get your driver's license?
I love it. Yeah. But seriously, so I have so all I have to type in is scam 1 and it text replaces with my little thing and it just goes and then they'll reply. And then I've honestly thought about setting up my Chime chatbot.
Oh.
For scammers?
Smart.
And name it something fun.
Yes. Julius. No. Oh my gosh, good time. Oh, love it. The last thing that I wanted to know about was obviously we're in this time of year where we're starting to think about next year. What's the one thing you feel like you want to change in your business for next year to set you up for success? If you could pinpoint one thing, what do you think it is?
Require photo ID. Check. No, just kidding.
Have a Google form for that. No.
Scammer Google form.
Scammer Google form.
And completely.
Yeah. I think just coming up with more, Laura, Good and I, just really our monthly plan. And so it's more systemized so that way when we have business come in or it becomes really overflowing, that our systems are just kind of set up. And so we're working on our time and getting all the back end to make sure that it's all set up correctly. And that's a little hard, but I'd like to get my database 100% finished here fairly soon. Over 10 years, I've kind of molded what my system is so I can have more of a life. And I feel like I'm getting there. And I feel like that was our core value, is to spend more time we both have 3 daughters, and to spend more time with our kids and to be home more. But to do that, we could just balance each other. So that way we can have a vacation. I actually got to go to Europe this year, and thank God.
You needed it.
I had a vacation. I did. My kids were all kind of graduating, and it's the first time that I ever got to relax, really, since doing real estate, because I think we become very hypersensitive to everything and what's the next thing I need to do. And I was able to take a step back to take a step forward, because I thought I would do less transactions this year than I did last year, but I've actually done more. Mm-hmm. So, but I feel like the pressure is off. And I always know that every day we're going to talk and we're going to go over our list of things and we'll divvy it up. And most of the time it's kind of divvied already, but we just got to touch base and make sure.
Laura's it's already taken care of. She's like, here you go. No.
And we actually share our calendars. We share our emails.
Yeah.
We share a lot of our forms that have a lot less stress than they used to.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I just feel like more of that. And I feel like having her on this year has been such a blessing, even though it's been a little bit of a shit show and there's been things happen. I don't feel like it's unbearable.
Right. No, you guys have a great dynamic.
For me, having been now, I guess, just completing my first full year, I'm excited for this next year. I feel like I have my feet under me. I know how to make it through a transaction. They never fall open with their legs in the air.
No, they're never going to be easy.
There's always something weird. There's always something difficult. And so I just expect it. And then having a friend and partner to bounce everything off of is awesome.
Yeah.
It's also a great, perfect relationship here too, because for me, I don't want to be out doing sales constantly and worrying about where my next sale is going to come through. And so I love being able to keep busy doing the back end stuff for her. Right. And then as a new agent, it also exposes me to all different kinds of things. And so having this be also my first year altogether and her first year at Real, it was a reset year in a lot of ways. And so I think moving into the second year, we're starting to get into a flow and have things down and get our synergies between the two of us down. And I think just focusing on continuing to develop our system and our synergies and how we can best play to each other's strengths and then also having that balance with our lives, personal lives too. Yeah, because that's what both of us were all about.
100%. I love it. No, this is amazing. This is great.
Girl, you did good. You did well.
Yes.
Cheers.
Thank you so much for hanging out with us today.
We know you're probably potty watching or avoiding doing something domestic today, and we're glad you found us instead.
If you've got a crazy real estate story to share,
Burning questions you want the real tea spilt on,
or maybe you want to sponsor our little production, we want to hear from you. Shoot us an email so that we can collaborate. And until next time, guys,
we'll be a hot mess, and you keep doing you, boo-boo.
make it a great day.